And we need a screen share. All right, let me know if you can see my screen clearly and the sound quality is good. So if you're ready, we can start this session. The question looks a lot easier than the previous question we looked at. So hopefully it's not going to take much for us to complete this essay. Of course, with your help, with your ideas, because I know that most of us are more like, photographers already. We have our smartphones, cameras, and, high quality cameras. And we've been taking pictures, almost all our, not, I wouldn't say all our lives, but for the past 5-6 years, I think, continuously. So the question says, people are taking more photographs today than in the past. What are the reasons for this? So one obvious reason is that, as I just mentioned, now we have access to high quality cameras. Is it a positive or negative development? Well, could be both, a little bit of both. But with such questions, I noticed, I joined the previous session when Eldor was talking about different question types, and I'm sure he talked about this question type as well. So this is a two-part question. So let me just try to rephrase this. People are taking more photographs today than in the past. Okay, let's see, taking more photographs. So nowadays, taking photographs have become more common, maybe, right? More common. So that would be my paraphrase. So, this is like Toshmat's style, but more or less, it's okay. Taking photos, nowadays taking photos, so nowadays doesn't really go with, it's important that you understand, when you have nowadays, it's important that you use present simple or present continuous, but I've used present perfect, so now I have to go and change nowadays, so you can say over the last few years or a few decades, maybe. That's years. Over the last few years, taking photographs have become more common. Maybe have become more prevalent. Prevalent, okay, maybe like that. So we need reasons for this, right? So reasons. What are some reasons? So number one is we have access. Now, almost everyone have smartphones with high quality cameras, right? So that's what we have. Second one might be there's more traveling, maybe. Because of, or thanks to advances in transportation, whatever. What else? What are some other reasons? Hey, Lord, what do you think? Or maybe some others. You guys want to suggest some reasons, some more reasons why we're taking more photos? It has become. You're right. Taking photographs has become. This is what happens when you don't really think about, like, yeah, definitely has become more prevalent. Thank you. And this is also has. I'm not in my element right now because, like I said, I just had huge, dinner club with my very good friend. So my head is still there. My mind is still occupied with this. My body is busy digesting this food. So yeah, don't worry. It will hopefully come back. But so I may be making a few mistakes here and there, but that's fine.
Store memories.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
To store memories, like the events and remember them.
So all right, okay. So for memories, right? So we can just put for memories. Someone put something like because of social media. I think this is a good point as well. In order to post, maybe in order to post to social media platforms, right? So such as Instagram. That's also a very good reason, I think. I think we have enough reasons, right? What do you think, Eldon?
Yeah, I think it was enough.
That's enough, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Instagram. So we need to use, that's a brand name, I think. Traveling, the American way of spelling is with one L. Okay. Now what? Oh, such as, yeah, I'm just missing S. Like I said. Okay, so these are some of the reasons. All right, now, is this a positive thing or a negative development, right? Is this a positive or negative development? Let's see. Even if we want to decide which side we want to take, like, are we going to argue, in favor of positive or in favor of negative? So you need to first of all brainstorm some ideas for both sides, even though you're going to use only one side for this question. It's a good idea to look at both and then make up your mind, right? So let's say arguments for taking photos. So what are some of the arguments taking photos? And now we can say
we're occupied.
What do you mean occupied?
Some people are just occupied with taking good photos and sending on social media that they just forget about everything else.
Is this a good thing for, is this one of the arguments for positive development?
Disadvantage argument.
No. Argument doesn't mean like a bad thing, or it's not a disagreement. It's just, I say argument for, it means this is a point in favor of. The point in favor of, okay? Argument just means a point. So it's a point in favor of taking photos. What are some of the points in favor of taking photos? Like photos, can serve
maybe
as memories. Like,
ordinary methods of taking a photo is now being replaced by the modern ones. With the help of these high-quality super cameras.
That would be a bit off topic.
Yes, off topic. Shuning uchun savolni yaxshilab tushunib olaylik. Mana qaranglar. O'zbekchasiga tushuntirishga harakat qilaman. People are taking more photographs today than in the past. More photographs today than in the past. Oldingidan ko'ra hozirgi kunda odamlar ko'proq, demak, o'sha rasmga olyapti, ko'proq o'sha nima deymiz endi, fotoapparatlarni ishlatib rasmga olyapti deylik. Buni sabablarini nima? Sabablarini aytdik. Bugungi kunda smartfoni bor, ko'proq travel qilayotgan bo'lishi mumkin. For memories, o'ylab qarasak, mana shu ikkita reason menga unchalik relevant dek tuyulmayapti. So I'm going to get rid of these two reasons. Let me see. What was that? Okay. Unchalik relevant tuyulmay qoldi. Mana shu ikkitasi yetadi. Almost everyone has smartphones with high quality cameras. And another good reason is to post them on social media platforms, such as the Instagram.
Can I say something for arguments for?
Sure. But now, let me just finish my point. Okay. Ikkinchi sabab, is this a positive or negative development? Bu yaxshi tomonga o'zgarishmi yoki yomon tomonga o'zgarishmi demoqchi. Ya'ni bugungi kunda ko'p o'sha rasmga olish yaxshi narsami, yomon narsami demoqchi xolos savolda. Shuni o'ylanglar sizlar o'sha jihatdan. Demak, hozir men sizlardan so'rayotgan narsalarim yaxshi narsa deb qarasak, qanaqa sabablar beramiz, qanaqa argumentlar bera olamiz yaxshi narsaligiga. Misol uchun,
can I
memories.
Say something?
Yeah, sure now. Yeah, Paul.
It can be useful for entrepreneurs to advertise their products. or their service by Instagram?
You have to explain. Nasıl senin Instagram götürüyorsun? Photos gönderiyor relevant.
No, photos can be useful to taking this goods. Thank you.
Okay. So they can promote their products by posting the pictures of their products, you mean?
Yes.
Okay. Yildiz, what do you think about this? I'm still like on the fence about like in terms of relevance.
You shouldn't be on the fence. It's the problem with that argument is it would be a good argument if the question was what are the
benefits of social media? Yeah.
Social media, yes. But you should find a concrete idea that relates to the positives or negatives of taking a lot of photos as opposed to very few photos.
Yeah,
okay?
That's it. Like it has nothing to do with like promoting on social media, right? Taking more photos now than in the past. Photos can serve as memories. So you have a lot of memories now, a lot more memories because there are a lot more photos. So that's one reason. Another reason could be...
And show the places. Like for traveling, someone might take pictures and show others and get them interested in.
That's a good point. But that doesn't mean like, was there any other... so do we think there's no any other way of interesting other people or encouraging other people to travel?
Can we make some transparency in government stuff, something?
How?
Just what
do you mean?
Just in some cases what corruption can be avoided because just as anyone has access to smartphones and cameras, they can easily capture this and something like this.
It's about video, right? You're talking about recording a video.
It could be off topic.
Yeah, you're talking about this using their cameras. Yeah.
I'm gonna just if I can talk about this idea. I think the idea that was just presented is an okay idea, but what you need to think about is, will you be able to present it, develop it correctly in an essay? That's another thing that you should think about, because like it's a long thing to explain how like being able to take photos or videos can prevent this corruption and stuff. If it were 1,000-word essay, I'd say like go for it, you know.
Okay, here's what I noticed when we're generating ideas. I think this is where the problem is for a lot of candidates. They come up with ideas, but without really analyzing them enough, or without really understanding the depth of these ideas, we rush to writing our essays, and we're just using those like ideas, you know, even though some of them are not really relevant, 100% relevant enough. So I'm going to give you maybe a tool to check your idea, like how good your ideas are. So what you can do is you can ask yourself like these 3 questions when you're generating ideas. Does my idea, so let me just put like, does my idea fully answer the question? So that means like, is it relevant, right? So that's the biggest question. Is it relevant? Does it answer the question? Second one is, does it not repeat the previous idea? Because, well, you need to come up with more than one idea. So it's very common for candidates to have 2 ideas which kind of overlap, which kind of, you know, which have the same basis, which have the same, overall idea. So does it not repeat the previous idea? And the last one is my idea, or is this idea, let's say, is this idea, or maybe it's better to start with can this idea be extended? Or in other words, developed. It means, can I develop this idea? So these are only, that's it. You have to ask yourself these three questions. Some of the ideas you guys presented fall short with some of these questions. For example, I noticed you guys are failing with the first one. Like your ideas are not really answering the question. We haven't moved on to the next idea, so we haven't really tested for the second one. But the last one, for example, could be a good example for the last idea about taking photos to the government corruption. This can be the problem of like extending or developing, right? So you need to always consider these points. And from this perspective, this is a really tough question, I admit. So maybe it's tough because we can't really come up with two independent arguments. So photos can serve as memories. That's the only good thing about taking more photos. What else?
Argument?
Yeah. Yes, Shahrazada, is that you?
Yeah. So when you take photos and then look back at them, it gives you the feeling of nostalgia, which inspires positive emotions and optimism.
That's very good. That's very impressive. But
for me personally, it's like that. All of the pictures I took from before, I look at them and then it just makes me more happy.
That's great. Can you now analyze this using these three questions? Does it answer the question? Shahzada, do you think this answers the question?
Maybe it maybe it repeats the first argument.
Yeah, that's correct. We can use Shahzada, and then if you can unmute yourself because I hear the echo. The thing is, what you said was incredible about looking back and being filled with positive emotions, but that all goes under this sweet memory thing, right? Photos can serve as sweet memory. So that's just the extended or expanded or developed version of the previous idea. But thank you again. Thank you very much.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum.
Ali,
Rahmat. I have an idea, and I think that it serves as a kind of motivation. Maybe we can take the example of sports people or business people. When they look back and look at their photos, maybe they can reflect, maybe their teenage years and how young they were, and compare with the past. Yeah, and maybe
so I'm trying to put it in the context of this question. So you're saying maybe old people or successful people can use these photos as a way of reflecting on their past, and again,
not only old people, but I would say maybe it serves like a model for younger generation.
Okay.
Like a tool for motivation, maybe Habib's old,
Okay, let me ask you this. Does it only apply to taking more photos, or does it apply to taking photos in general?
In general, I'd say.
Yeah, so from this perspective, I'm still little, Ilor, if you want to jump in to the discussion and maybe give us, because I feel like it's about taking photos in general.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, your question there was like to the point, like
yeah,
it's in general, like even if you take, let's say, one photo,
yeah,
that would
that's
be
still
enough. Right?
yeah. But what about my argument then? Photos can serve as memories. This still then this also applies to taking photos in general, right? I just need to put maybe like more photos, more memories.
If you have
something.
The difference, I would say, is if you have more photos, you can have more memories. But in the context that of Ali's idea, like in order to get motivation, you would just need like one photo from one period of your life, right?
Yeah.
Or you need to just stress. You just need to emphasize that you need more photos to get more motivation. Maybe you need to be selective. I don't know. Like,
yeah, I don't think that would work. Like,
and also
maybe you take
and also photography may help to share and communicate with each other because images are much more than a simple single record. It helps us to speak for the better, maybe.
Yeah, we can talk about, like, maybe we can say taking more photos can help raise awareness of maybe environmental problems. Can we go in that direction?
I think here what we need to focus on is not like photography on a professional level, but just the fact that every single person can take a lot of photos now. I mean, in the context of environment, you could like imagine right now we didn't have these smartphones and it wasn't really easy to take photos, right? But you would still have people taking these photos and trying to raise awareness of environmental issues. And this happened like 30, 40 years ago also, you know, like
So I didn't mean I didn't mean that. I didn't imply anything at all about this issues regarding with this environmental impacts.
I understand, but I was basically trying to help your points, maybe trying to develop your point further, because you're saying we can communicate. Like, communicate what? That's why I'm saying, like, communicate maybe ideas regarding, or maybe solutions, or raise awareness of problems related to the environment. So
communicating in general terms, in general as a whole, I mean.
Okay, so my question is, like, how communicate what? Like, through photos? What do you mean by communicating through photos?
And basically, can we just take photos in educational purposes?
Okay. You have to explain. You have to explain. Like, mana shu ham yaxshi narsa, sizlar uchun yaxshi exercise. Hozir menga sizlar main ideyalaringni present qilyapsizlar. Men xuddi writing examinermanda o'tirib sizlardan expand qilishlaringni so'rayapman. All right, just expand. Tell me how. Like, why? Like, why?
Students can just take photo of what their teacher has written, and they can revise using these photos in their phones.
Okay, taking more photos in classroom so they can take pictures of the whiteboard or taking more pictures of the slideshow, and then they can revise them later.
Yes.
Eldar, what do you think about this? Like, students are using their cameras or smartphones to take more photos of the whiteboard.
I guess we can use this, but like I usually
this may be a bit more specific, right? I think.
Yeah. Usually, what I do when I'm thinking of ideas is I imagine that I am in a debate, right? And I am on both sides.
Right. Okay. You play the devil's advocate.
Yeah, I'm on both sides, and like, for example, if you gave this argument, like, okay, students can take a lot of photos in the classroom. In a debate, my argument would be that, okay, yes, but they.
This is a good thing. This is a good thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, is it a good thing? Like they lose attention. They don't.
Correct.
Just because they have these photos, they're not paying attention. They're not really taking notes, and this affects negatively on. This affects their school performance negatively. So I guess
100% agree. Yeah, 100% agree. Correct, because because you rely too much on taking photos, because you're like saying, okay, I can take photos. I don't really have to pay attention now. I just can take photos and look back, and then understand the issue better. So if you didn't have that, opportunity or chance to take photos, or if you didn't have any means to take photos, then you would be less distracted and you would be focused on understanding the lesson. So from that perspective, by playing the playing the devil's advocate, we're saying, yeah, it's a good point, but does it hold water? Like, meaning, is it solid argument, right? And by just questioning it, it's a relevant point, but it doesn't really hold water. It doesn't really solid enough, right?
Debatable.
Mm-hmm.
I have an idea that if people take photos, themselves again and again, they have more like motivation, maybe self-independence. For example, whenever I take myself photo and I realize that, wow, how am I beautiful and how am I like clever?
Teacher, how many times we are revolving around motivation.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Motivation.
Can I say something? It relieves the stress, maybe.
It relieves stress.
In court, that's
in terms of communication. I mean that. So it helps us to express our emotion, sympathy. That's when we are muted off, we are unable to just express ourselves in front of others.
Okay, I can put this like helps with communication. So like on one picture is worth 1,000 words. So by just posting a photo, by just sending a photo to your friend, you can just, you don't have to describe the place you went to using words, right? So that's, from that perspective, helps with communication. I agree. But again, just like, is it, about more? Is it more photos, right? You can take just one photo. You could have one camera, like not cell phone, but camera, but take one picture, or I don't know. I'm not sure about this. I understand what you mean by easing communication, but I'm not really sure if we can use this idea for this question. That's what it. And as for the ladies' example of like, it can motivate us to be more self-confident. By taking more selfies, we become more self-confident. I'm not really sure. It could actually work the other way around too.
Yeah.
Especially Ildar might agree with me that taking photos might actually hurt your ego sometimes.
Confidence.
Narcissistic.
Makes you more narcissistic. Okay. All right, Ildar, do you have any good ideas then? Maybe that's just, we're not just, it's not just meant to be. Maybe we should just look at the arguments against taking photos. Okay, go ahead.
The question is so hard.
Can be used as proof or evidence in court against the defendant, or proof for some other reasons.
Yeah.
That's a good idea, yeah. More photos means more chance of evidence existing, right?
As proof.
More photos mean better chance of evidence existing, yeah. Sure, I like that idea now, because now everyone has cell phones, so they can actually take photos of certain incidents, certain events happening, and sometimes you might help, solve the crime or something.
And also, it could be some history documents for a young generation, It's good photos and it is available for them.
Okay, so your voice wasn't that clear, but you said something like it could help younger generation to learn more about the history. Okay. All right, Eldor, I'm going to go ahead and ask you to maybe, because you haven't given your argument yet. So if
my personal stance.
Can we, first of all, okay, go ahead. This one last maybe comment, okay.
Yeah, I was wondering whether this idea would be acceptable, but I was thinking taking photos may offer an escapism from our monotonous life. Is it possible to take this idea?
Taking photos may offer what?
Escapism
from our monotonous life.
Yeah, okay. But I was thinking maybe it's much suitable to the first point.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. It could, it could serve as a hobby. Taking photos can be a hobby. So your idea only kind of, is relevant from that perspective. Like when we take, photos as a hobby, then it can help us become maybe less. I don't know. But it's hard to put it in the context of taking more photos.
I see. Uh-huh.
Thank you, though. Eldor, can you now give me your idea, or do you think we should just move on to the other side?
My personal stance vis-a-vis taking photos.
Sure.
If I had this question as the exam, I wouldn't even think about arguments for.
Yeah. I think arguing against taking more photos is probably easier.
Yeah.
Because people are missing out on a lot, right? Like last time when we traveled together to Samarkand, as a group, we saw that how people so occupied with taking photos, they're really missing out on the actual, experience of traveling.
Yep.
Right? So they're busy taking pictures, they're busy taking selfies. They're not really paying attention to what's around them. Right? So that means we can move on to arguments against taking photos. So the first one would be, how would you rephrase this idea?
I wouldn't rephrase it. So missing out on is a good phrase, I think.
Too busy taking photos.
Okay.
And miss out on the what's on the journey, miss out on the experience, maybe, right? On the actual experience. For example, when traveling, on the actual experience when traveling. So that's our first. And now we can also say, we can actually use this student idea, students taking more photos may be more distracted and less focused maybe in class. I think it's a good argument. What else?
Being too preoccupied with it.
That's the first one. So that's I just used the word busy, but you can say preoccupied or
There are psychological aspects of this too. first of all, if you want to connect it back to our, causes, right? So a lot of people take photos
post on social media.
And the other people who see those photos in the social media could, it has effect on the person taking the photo and on the person seeing the photo also. Like people can look at these like perfectly timed
the ideal
moments, moments in someone else's life, and they might get depressed, right?
That's good. What do we call that? How do you like? What is the word for that? Like psychological what? Like
impact.
Yeah, but that's I was going for more precise.
Can we use envy?
Envy. Okay.
It's giving misleading image about our life.
That's good. Yeah, maybe that, like misleading others, right? That you're living an ideal life, like your dream life, right?
So I guess, I guess like the word that we're looking for here. So you were thinking about like the exact word, and I think it's resentment.
May lead to the feeling of resentment in others, maybe, right?
Yeah.
We have to explain this idea, though. I'm not really sure about this one because it's about to the feeling of, right? The feelings of resentment. Okay.
I have another idea.
Okay.
Sure. The existence of Photoshop can hurt people, like give bad consequences and impacts.
Photoshop. Why are you not talking about Photoshop?
Because
what's the relevance of Photoshop to taking more photos?
Putting changes to photos that are actually not there and can hurt people's reputations by making the photo look bad and all.
That's a great point, but again, this is not something that was in the question, though, right?
Yeah.
It's not in the question. That's a good point.
What do you think about invasion of privacy?
All right, can you elaborate on it?
For example, sometimes when people take photos, others don't want to be in the photo, and you are posting it, tagging them, but they don't want to be in the photo, right?
Okay, that's a good point. I think
If I may interject here.
Sure.
Legally speaking,
I like it. Invasion of privacy. I like it though.
Okay, so when you say invasion of privacy, you are going into the legal territory. And legally speaking, when you are outside your home, you don't have privacy.
Okay.
I mean, seriously.
Invasion of privacy may not be the correct term here, but he may be onto something. Like you're taking a picture of whatever, a scene or whatever, a historical place, and someone else is in the photo. And they may not,
like the experience.
They may not necessarily like to be in that photo. From that perspective, it is a narrow point of view, though. It's like it's a very specific. It's really hard to develop this idea because it's not really about taking more photos. It's just about like being in the photo, like without meaning to or something. Like,
believe me, I understand that argument because when we were in Samarkand, I was in many photos that I didn't want to be. So, but like again, this if you want to really go deep from the legal angle, that wouldn't be. But we can talk about it. Like one thing to point out here for anyone who doesn't know this is your argument doesn't have to be right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It doesn't have to be 100% right.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any more ideas, Eldor? Maybe to finish this off. Yeah.
On the psychological aspect, this third idea that we're talking about, it can also affect the person taking the photo. A lot of people get obsessed with these photos and they become much more narcissistic. Like, if you compare the current generation, like millennials and Gen Z, to, let's say, previous generations, the modern generation is much more narcissistic. They are much more, self-centered, me-centered people, and I think that's partly due to this.
Taking more photos?
Yeah, partly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it might be too wide, too broad of an argument, but.
Yeah. I'm not really, convinced. I mean, I'm convinced, but it's like it's really hard to put it in the essay and talk about it. All right. I like all these three ideas. You might eventually choose two, to be honest, but I like them all for now. Like students taking photos, a little bit specific maybe, may lead to feelings of resentment, especially in others, is also something. It's more related to social media presence and social media activeness in social media. It's not so much about taking more photos, right?
Yeah.
It's really hard. Okay, so I want to go back to the question. People are taking more photographs today than in the past. What are the reasons for this, and is this a positive or negative development? This is a negative development because they're missing out on the experience. It's also a negative development because more photos mean... Okay, so what do you think of this, Eldor? What do you think of basically arguing for both sides and having three body paragraphs here? So, for example, we can talk about reasons in one paragraph and why this could be a positive development from the perspective of a memory, like from this respect, like having more memories. Or maybe we could even add this: more photos mean there's a good chance of evidence existing in certain situations, and we might say it may be a negative development from this perspective, like taking more photos and being preoccupied with taking photos and missing out on the actual experience.
I think.
So can we argue both sides?
It will either be like this wouldn't be something recommended during the actual exam, because it would either take too much time, or we would, because we are focusing on three things rather than two things now, we would kind of mess up the development, being in a hurry or something like that. So when I get something like this, I never go for both sides here. So I choose one.
I agree. I agree.
What about making concession, just picking up one argument for, and just making concession while writing the against arguments?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I think in this case we will discuss both views.
Right. So we can talk about
this one. Yes. And also we accepting this one, but this argument, more photos, more memories, it's also what leads to this.
Correct.
I think it's better to use students taking more photos, maybe distracted and less focused for concession, because it can be easy for revision, but also it can be easy for revision, but also it leads to distraction and less makes students less focused, and also something stuff like that, I think.
Good. I like that. So we will be basically arguing against it, and we'll be saying it's more of a negative development, but we'll be using these two ideas, I think, right? first two ideas.
Spreading of inappropriate images.
Okay, let's come back to that, like after finishing this point. So we'll be using two ideas, but we'll have two concession ideas as well, like basically saying, first, maybe taking, people are too busy taking photos and they're missing out on the actual experience. Although, I acknowledge, I admit that the more photos can mean more memories, they're actually just missing out on the actual experience. And then we can also say sometimes some people might also argue that, for example, taking more photos in the classroom might help with revision. But, on the contrary, when students take more photos, they become more distracted and less focused. Right? I think that could make up our whole second body paragraph, and we'll have enough ideas to work with. Yes. Right? All right, I like it. Thank you. That kind of saves saves us from the trouble of basically having a little, confusing position. Because when you argue both sides in such questions, you might give the impression that, you're not really sure, you don't have a clear position, which is not a good thing for a task response. Any other questions related to, idea generation for now? No? So we can move on to I think with the idea generation, you realize that we also did the organization as well, especially the second body paragraph. It was a good organization with the concession points of view. I also did the organization, like idea selection for reasons as well, by choosing two reasons, like two clear reasons. So we're ready to move on to actually writing this essay.
Is that okay?
Yes.
I'm sorry for disturbing you, and I want to ask that, is it okay to use ideas that we wrote for reasons, and also for the second part of the question, positive or negative developments, and same ideas for both body paragraphs? Is it okay, or it's better to avoid this?
It's better to avoid it because there's a risk of repetition. There's a risk of repetition. It's a good question. Okay. All right. Any other questions here? If not, then let's move on. I want to have the question here. So people taking more photos today than in the past. Okay, let me see. People are taking more photographs today than in the past. Okay. All right, so Toshmat style, as usual. People, Toshmat would probably say human beings. So he would probably use nowadays.
Individuals.
It's probably Ishmat, but I want to point out to more common mistakes, because individuals is also a mistake in this case, like using individuals instead of people, because it somehow indicates or refers to people like as individuals, not in general. So I don't know, like it's still not the best word, but human beings is like, off the charts. It's like, it's beyond mistake here, right? So nowadays, human beings are taking more photographs. Nowadays, human beings are, using their cameras to take pictures, maybe. Using their cameras more often than in the past. While this has many causes, I think it's a negative development. Okay, so for I think he would use something different. Eldor, what do you think? What would he say instead of I think? I opine, maybe? I opine that it's a negative development.
I see the word opine more often than not, like, you know.
You see the word opine more often?
More often than I would like.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So then you're agreeing, right, with this?
Yeah.
Okay, Eldor, you want to give it a try?
Can I quickly look back at the question?
Sure.
Okay.
Hey, Eldor, why don't I give you this editing rights for this document to you so that you can take the lead, and would you mind? Was it okay with you?
Yeah, it would be.
Go ahead and write, and I'll be the judge here. I'll be just sitting there and enjoying your work. But I'll be contributing a lot. But I just want to see, because I don't know. I was doing the 4 p.m. and it was hard, and it's like I don't know. So copy link. All right. You can go ahead now. I'll be watching. I can be involved. I can type in something as well, but I'm gonna let you work on this essay. Yeah.
Yeah, people are. Okay.
So you're anonymous nin cat.
Okay, I'm not gonna really paraphrase here.
Okay.
Okay. People, what is happening to me? They
Yeah,
are
it's tough.
taking,
It's tough to write under pressure.
more photos.
So you can
Should
just
I
say
say
more.
more pictures than before? And that's it. I don't need anything too complex. Don't want to say maybe okay, this is mainly due to the ease of taking photos.
Maybe easy access, something like that. Like
yeah, but the problem with that is I want to say and popularity of
So you want to
social
generalize.
media.
Okay, that's good.
And I believe on balance it is a negative development. So, yep.
That's good.
That would be, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So all right. So we need to fix this, like the popularity of, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to involve Ali as well in our discussion for this introduction, at least. If you're here, Ali, can you go ahead and maybe tell us your introduction so we can put it in?
Oh yeah, sure. Can I write mine on Telegram?
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead. So we can.
Yeah. In the meantime, you can write yours.
You don't want to. Okay. Yeah, I would probably say something like that. Like over the last few years, taking more pictures has become more prevalent. Nah, I don't like that. Taking more pictures. Like, maybe I would just want to say, like, people are taking more pictures over the last few days, a few years now. Now it's like, okay, it has been a common activity, maybe. Common activity to take more pictures. I don't know. It's been a common activity to take more pictures. I don't really like the word activity, but the last few years it's been a common activity to take. But taking I don't know. Taking more pictures. Maybe just get rid of everything and just say taking more pictures has become increasingly more common today than in the past, than before. Okay. I see that you use this is mainly due to the expression that I normally use. Ease of taking photos and the popularity of social media. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and use because that's what I normally use. This is mainly due to maybe saying having smartphones.
You can say the primary reasons are, or something like that.
Okay, this is maybe mainly because of having this. Can we say this is mainly because of everyone having access, like almost everyone, or maybe most people? This is mainly because I don't like of the fact that most people have smartphones. I don't like it because it's become a long phrase. And because of the fact that most people have smartphones with high quality cameras. Taking more pictures has become increasingly more common today than before. This is mainly because of the fact that most people have smartphones with high quality cameras. Maybe something like despite some of the despite some of the benefits, I still think it is a negative development on the whole.
Teacher, can I say something?
Sure.
Can we just combine the first two sentences, like instead of this is mainly because, just as most have smartphones?
Oh, I like it. I like it. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's great. Or since most people, something, or since most people, okay, have smartphones. with high quality. I like it. That's great. So I'm going to go ahead and check out Ali's recommendation. Ali, you there, or where are you writing? Oh, Ali is writing in the group. Ali, what do you have? Like, people these days are taking more photos than they did in the past. What are the reasons? Oh, you just post the question.
Oh, no, it's not the question, actually.
Oh, it's not the question. Okay. I thought it was the question. While there are people, okay. I'm just going to go ahead and copy the picture then. Just post it here. This is your, like, very unique. So you're saying people these days are taking more photos than they did in the past. I like that. While there are some factors that explain why this is the case, I'm of the view that it is a change for the worse. Yeah, I like your expressions. So this is Ali's. I like your all those, expressions like change for the worse. While this is the case, some factors that explain, like, that's really good. All right.
I think we missed commas here after people.
No,
in these days.
You don't really need a comma. It's okay, I guess.
Excuse me,
yes.
sir. Both Eldorake and Bigzotake, you're implying your causes, right?
Yes.
And don't you think that if we no, you're stating them basically in short. And don't you think that it's a better idea to, imply them and mention them in more detail in your body paragraphs? That way, keeping the examiner more intrigued.
Implying what, like pros, you mean, or cons?
No, causes. I mean.
Causes. We're implying. Okay. So you're saying, while there are some factors, well, there's. Both approaches are okay, I think. Like, sometimes being specific might help. It's like being direct. Some examiners may appreciate it. Sometimes it's better. It's more like Asian style to keep it like very general in the introduction and then be more specific throughout the essay. So I think it's more of an individualistic choice than
Okay.
Yeah,
got it.
then it's like I wouldn't say it's right or wrong. It's just a matter of taste. And I like your introduction, while being very general. It's still, one thing about like being general is that there is a risk of basically writing in this one size fits all approach, as Paul and Colin puts it. Like, there's a risk that you may be using this formula or set phrase, that one phrase that could go in any essay and would still be okay. So a lot of students do that, like say, while there are some reasons, while there are some factors that explain why this is the case. For example, I can take this and use it in any essay, right? You mean
like any cause solution or cause effect?
Exactly. Yeah. So, but what I like about it is that it's fresh, it's new, it's original in a way that it's not really cliche. It's not something that's been overused. So from that perspective,
these days are taking more.
So I might like. It's a great introduction for a teacher, like for an IELTS instructor, because your students can use the same approach. They can even copy this phrase word by word, like word for word, and then they'll be able to apply it in their own introductions. So from that perspective, this modeling is really good. But to avoid that kind of blame, to avoid that, like you don't want to seem as someone who are just using set phrases or, one size fits all phrases, then you're like, then it's better to be more specific and it's better to be more original. But again, I really like the...
Okay, What about Simon's essays? Don't you like them?
Like
Simon.
It's been a while. I haven't seen Simon. I haven't really been following Simon's essays, to be honest. But I've seen some of his essays. I know his approach. That's why, I just say, it's an individual approach. Some even if you ask examiners, different examiners, I think you would probably get a variety of reactions to it, different reactions. Some examiners might, look at it favorably, and some might say being more specific might help. So there's no right or wrong. It's okay.
Yep.
All right, Ildar, I want you to take the center stage now. I want you to go ahead and use your own introduction, and then go ahead and help us write this essay. We'll be there for you. We'll be cheering for you.
Seriously?
Yeah, you could just start, just use copy and paste your introduction below Ali's introduction, then just go ahead and start writing.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, can you also share the ideas, the brainstorming we had in the group chat, so that I can also see the ideas and start writing my own paragraph?
Okay. So this was the ideas, right?
Yeah. Causes paragraph.
Yeah, okay. Causes, yeah, all right.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right.
It might take me a while because
I understand. The trick is you have to speak out loud. You have to walk us through your, thoughts.
Yeah. So I usually, the problem with me is I have this one idea that stuck in my mind when I was studying at the university. I had this one teacher who was great at writing, and when I asked him for advice, he said that don't start writing unless you know how you are going to finish it.
Mm-hmm. So you want to start with a conclusion?
No, I just, before I start writing, I just like to think about everything that I want to write, and then start.
Okay, so you want to do the planning all over again?
Yeah, in my head, yes.
Okay. Okay. You could go ahead and use this space for your essay structure if you want to. Just go ahead and put all your ideas in, whatever you want to include.
So right now, what I'm thinking is, should I write this like you said, like an umbrella topic sentence? Because I feel I already mentioned this in the introduction, and I have to write it again.
Yeah, that's the thing about Ali's approach, that when you keep it general, it's easier, right?
Yeah.
Just to use it as a topic sentence. You may steal his introduction if you want and use your own sentence as a topic sentence.
No. The primary reasons why okay, I wanna start taking more photos. Okay. I wanna just say smartphones and social media.
Mm-hmm.
So okay. So now what I'm thinking about is, should I talk about these two things separately, or should I somehow combine them? But because logically, it is possible. Usually, we would talk about them separately, ordinarily, right? But in this case, these two things are connected. So I could somehow develop both ideas at the same time. Now I'm thinking like which one would be better and easier for me and better for the examiner to understand.
Right. Yeah, I agree because your smartphones have social media apps, so you can take pictures.
The main reason why a lot of people take pictures are the social media. So it's somehow connected. So there is a connection.
Yeah.
But I think so. Since I said reasons,
you can always change it. Like I don't know.
Yeah. Firstly, I'm gonna say firstly. Thanks to smartphones with okay, I'm gonna steal your phrase.
Sure, yeah.
High quality cameras, thanks to smartphones with the ease. Okay, I'm using the word ease again, but I'm gonna make it like that. With which photos
can be taken?
Can be taken.
I like that with which, but it may be a little confusing for students. Thanks to smartphones with high quality cameras, the ease with which photos can be taken. So you want to continue this idea, like the ease with which photos can be taken is something, right?
Okay, I'm gonna say modern. Okay, not modern. Smartphones are modern, inherently modern. So. Smartphones, like that is the Toshmat in me, you know, like.
Yeah. That's fine. That's fine.
Smartphones with high quality have cameras have improved is with which I don't like this phrase.
No, I don't like it either. Like,
so I need a verb.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and help you with the verb using my smartphone because my so I can just go ahead and.
Okay, with which photos can be taken? Every person today has access to what would be considered a professional photo camera. Just a decade ago. Okay. Okay, so I've kind of extended on this idea. So I said that it has made it easier. And then I'm saying that like every person has this high quality access to these high quality cameras. Okay.
So to what would be considered a professional photo camera? Photo camera? So why is it like underlined? Because it's just one word? Or just two words? Doesn't matter. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because I don't have Grammarly on, by the way. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I have, so it's okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to say as a result. So, but I don't like to use as a result. This means that
so you can say oh, so you say this means that. Okay, this means that
this means that people can take photos of every small, I want to say thing, but I don't like using the word thing in my essays because it's too general. Saying that okay.
Or object, you can write object.
Small object.
No,
okay.
I don't necessarily mean object here.
No, it's so, thing is okay. Thing is okay for now. So
yeah, that they find interesting and or beautiful. Okay. Okay. This idea is officially developed, but the thing is, can I go further to expand? Otherwise, otherwise I will not get higher than 7 for my task response. Yeah.
Yeah, the primary reasons why I want to read the whole thing. Why people are taking more photos are smartphones and social media. Firstly, smartphones with high-quality cameras have improved the ease with which photos can be taken. Every person today has access to what would be considered a professional photo camera just a decade ago. This means that people can take photos of a small thing that they find interesting or beautiful. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, that's good enough. That's good enough.
Okay, so I have this idea. It has this change has made it easier for people to. Okay, so I want to say also here. Also. Or maybe this change has also made it. Okay, we'll change that later. Let me just write my idea down. This change has made it easier for people to take up photography as a hobby. As a hobby. Okay, so I want to say leading to an increased number of amateur photographers. So I just want to mention here is that this is kind of a moot point. How redundant. So this part of the sentence is redundant. I don't have to say it, but I'm saying it just because I have this grammar here. So I'm hoping that the examiner will notice this.
No, so you need to remove also and
has also. Okay.
In the case it will be the second reason, yes.
It's more of a support. It's more of a support, I think, right?
Yeah. Second supporting idea for the first reason. Okay. Now, I want to talk about. I want to talk about social media now. Of course, I can just say secondly and then start talking about social media. But what I'm thinking about right now is how can I connect it more smoothly with the first, like we said in the beginning, smartphones and social media are somehow connected.
All right. So just looking at the word count.
Okay, I'm gonna say I have this idea. I can also like it's like when you give speeches, you say this brings me to my
next
second
point.
idea. Yeah, so I can use a structure similar to that and say this has led to the second reason, which is, you know, I can do that, but I think it's clearer if I just say secondly. It's clearer for the reader to understand, so I'm gonna just, it's the easier way, but simpler way, but clearer also. So I'm gonna just say secondly, okay, so I'm gonna say this, fueled by this smart, okay, this way, I'm gonna, secondly, fueled by the smartphone boom. People have become okay, more people than ever have become obsessed with posting photos on social media websites. Okay, I see my mistake now. Websites such as
Instagram.
Instagram.
Do you mean Boon?
No, I mean boom.
Like increase, like developments, yeah. Instagram, so you like there's a spelling mistake here.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
All right, so we have
Instagram.
secondly and others or whatever. Fueled by.
So fueled by is a mistake here because here what I mean is this obsession has been fueled by, but here my subject is people, not obsession. So I'm gonna change it. I want to say thanks to, but I already use thanks to. So I'm gonna say because of this. Because of the smartphone boom. Boom is in this. How were they called again?
A lot of things like baby boomers
become popular, like the beginning of something like.
Yeah. Have become obsessed with posting photos on social media websites such as Instagram. This obsession has led has caused a. I can say
Mr. Edo?
Yeah.
Can we like just instead of this obsession, like this in turn caused a photography, like to connect the first sentence в свою очередь, like
Yeah.
This image
Yeah. Yeah. But
instead
the
of
thing is, yeah. Okay. One thing that I want to explain here is this. So if you pay like closer attention to what I'm writing here, if you like read it with attention, you will feel that the tone throughout this paragraph is negative, right?
yes.
Because I know that in the next paragraph I'm going to talk about the negative side, and this kind of helps, helps the reader. So even when you are reading this causes paragraph, you feel that I don't like taking photos, and I don't like this idea of taking a lot of photos. Yeah. And that tone helps. I think. I don't know whether. I don't know.
All right. So where are you going with the last sentence? This obsession has caused
And
photography.
Photography epidemic.
Mr. A, can you change the word caused with triggered? Because this triggered just gives more negative than caused, I
I'm
think.
not sure triggered would fit here.
This obsession has triggered the photography epidemic. Caused the photography.
Especially among
I think
the younger.
trigger it's to cause something bad to start somehow, or just I think gives it more negative as our
that's
body
what
paragraph
I'm.
just dedicated to negative.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. Like by your definition, it is to cause something to start, right? So I don't
Something
think
bad to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's
I'm not sure,
nothing
like
starting. Yeah, there's nothing
Yeah.
starting here.
photography existed before, but it just become much more kind of popular.
But what about photography epidemic? Because you use the photography epidemic, triggered the photography epidemic, and it's something
Okay,
bad. And it
okay. Let me just let's first of all let Ildor like finish, and then we you're not gonna suggest every single word here because that distracts the writer.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. So I guess I would end here. It would be great if I could kind of write a small conclusion here. But I don't think like both in terms of number of words and in terms of this length of the paragraph, that's not a good idea. So
okay, yeah. So we have how many words do we have here? It's about 124 words. The primary reasons why people are taking more. So one of the things I wanted to point out was maybe this umbrella topic sentence was not really needed in this case.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about, right?
So we can actually get rid of it, and then we'll have like fewer words and closer to 100.
Okay.
Right. So you can actually just start with like, firstly, smartphones with high quality cameras improve the ease with which photos can be taken.
Or maybe we can, we can remove that and say like make it like task 1, say with regard to the causes or something like that. We can start with something.
Can you say that? Like with regard to the causes, smartphones with high quality improve the ease. Nah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just get rid of it. I think that's good enough already.
Okay. What if I say the main here instead of firstly, the primary? Yeah. Yeah. I had a feeling that was unnecessary, honestly.
The primary reason. So you want to go with reason? The primary reason. Is that then?
Is that?
Okay, the primary reason is that smartphones with high-quality cameras have improved the ease with which photos can be taken. Every person today has access to what would be considered a professional. So we need something here, a connector between the first two sentences.
I don't. I'm not sure.
The ease with which photos can be taken. Every person today has access to what would be considered a professional photo camera just a decade ago. This means that people can take photos of every small thing that they find interesting or beautiful. This change has also made it easier for people to take up photography as a hobby, leading to an increased number of amateur photographers. Secondly, because of the smartphone boom, more people than ever have become obsessed with posting photos on social media websites such as Instagram. This obsession has caused. So can we just say like which caused a photography epidemic, especially among younger generation?
Can we use there every person between the first and second sentence consequently
every person today has access to.
No, it doesn't work.
Yeah,
no.
not. It's not a result per se, but it's more like a explanation. But can we just say?
In other words, right?
In other words, it's good. And that's what I was thinking actually. In other words, in other words, every person today has access to what would be considered a professional photo camera just a decade ago.
And can we every person perhaps has access? Can we just do it like this? Because I think it's somehow generalized for every person, because some people cannot. Every person.
Not every person, but almost everyone. Yeah.
Yes.
Almost everyone. Maybe you want to also move today, like today almost everyone has access.
In other words, today, would be.
Oh, no, you don't need, okay, doesn't matter. But what about this last sentence? Because we need a relative clause somehow, like, and then we were just.
Yeah, it would be too long if you think about it.
It would be, yeah. Secondly, because of the smartphone boom, more people than ever have become obsessed with posting photos on social media with websites such as Instagram. This obsession has caused. Okay. No, we cannot say because it's about this obsession. So you need this word obsession here, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's caused a photography epidemic, especially among the younger generation.
And what about trigger? In this case, it's better not to use trigger. Yes.
I don't know. To me, both sound the same, and
yeah, but I thought the word trigger somehow just puts emphasis that we are writing about the negative point and use it, to make more emphasis.
It's not a big deal. What I'm more worried about is the development of this one additional point of view about this. Increased number of amateur photographers. I don't really see why this point is here. And do we need some sort of development here? Like, do we need to explain anything? Like, this increased number of amateur photographers? Is there a need for this top point to be here?
Yeah. In my head, there is a need for this, but I did not connect it to the previous sentence as well as I wanted. So that's
this
why
change,
to you it seems like
this change has also made it easier for people to take up photography as a hobby, leading to an increased number of amateur photographers. Like, let's see, like, what kind of function does this sentence serve here? What is the purpose?
I think it's something connector between the third sentence and this sentence, because the people can take photos of every small things, and this change led to increased number of amateur photographers. So somehow it's a link, I think, between these two sentences.
But why do we need to know the fact that there is an increased number of amateur photographers? Like, is there? I don't know. Like, we can come back to this sentence. I don't know. We can highlight this and come back to it. later. Just
process has become much easier.
yeah, you can say has become much easier, but hello, you know what I'm saying, right? Like,
yeah, I know. Yeah, I know what I'm saying. And like in my head, it is connected, but the thing is, I could not connect it like grammatically. I could not connect it to the previous sentence.
I understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this means that people can take photos of every small thing.
So this sentence is actually supposed to be the kind of sentence that goes deeper, into the idea, not just stopping at just explaining, but again going much deeper than. Okay.
All right, let's move on to the next paragraph, and then we'll see. It's already 9 o'clock.
Yeah. And like you guys wanted to do it more with
concession. Yeah.
Concession, but to me it doesn't, like, it looks like
you don't want to use concession, at least for one point of view, maybe at least one idea.
Yeah, I do want to use concession, but not in the ways that you guys wanted to use. So
okay, go ahead. It's all right. So whatever, it's your essay now. So I'm just want to look at the arguments against, and just maybe post this in the group as well for those who want to try their own essay.
Okay, one consequence of
all right, so we have Ali's task paragraph 1 as well. So I'm just going to post Ali's paragraph, and I will discuss this. So in the meantime, Eldor, you can go ahead and write your, body paragraph. So there are two principal reasons why the frequency with which people are taking photographs is increasing. The first one is easy access to smartphones. Okay. Almost every one of us, okay. Today owns a cell phone with a built-in camera that allows us to take high-quality photos during our happy moments, holidays, and classes. Secondly, the rise and popularity of social media platforms such as Instagram, the rise and popularity of social media platforms. That's why it's suggesting like should be have, because you have like two nouns here: rise and popularity of social media, giving their users a chance to share experiences in the form of photos. So in an effort to keep their friends, family members, as well as other weak ties informed of what's going on in their lives, people are taking increasingly more photos. I like it. It's very short and concise. It's not that short, but it gave the impression that it was short.
I have a question. Is it okay to use like the social media platforms that we're giving in plural, and to give an example such as, and we're giving just one platform?
Yeah, it's okay. That's the whole idea of such as, because such as is just
what about Instagram and Facebook? Just mentioning two platforms.
The whole idea of using such as is not to talk about everything. It's like just example. Such as Instagram, it's fine. It just means like, as in like one example is Instagram, right? So, and plus Instagram is all about taking photos, so that's good. Like Facebook, on the other hand, is like more than photos, I think. have given their users a chance to share their experience in the form of photos. So in an effort to keep their friends, family members, as well as other weak tasks informed of what's going on in their lives, people are taking increasingly more photos. Yeah, I like it. I like it. So the only thing I'm looking at is the first one is easy access to smartphones. Almost every one of us today owns a cell phone with a built-in camera that allows us to take high-quality photos during our happy moments. Classes. Secondly, yeah, all right. So I feel like I'm not sure how we can develop this idea, but I feel like
you feel like the meaning is incomplete.
We could have maybe we could have added one more point to like maybe explain.
Okay.
I'm not sure how.
I felt the same way.
Yeah, I'm not sure how, but there's something missing here. Like, secondly, the rise and popularity of social media platforms such as Instagram have given their users a chance to share their experience in the form of photos. So, in an effort to family members as well as other forms of what's going on in their lives, people are taking increasingly more photos. Yeah, other than that, I like the paragraph itself, very to the point, you know.
And
yeah,
Mr. Alisher, can we change the "so" in the last sentence, because that I saying that we cannot start sentence with fanboys.
You can.
Or is it okay?
I wouldn't say so. You know.
No.
Maybe
I like so in this context. So in an effort to keep like it's okay. Yeah, it's perfectly okay in this case. Like so in an effort to keep their friends, people are taking. You can change it if you want to be more formal or to sound more formal, but for the for IELTS essays, you don't have to be like 100% formal. And in
it's
this
like
case,
semi academic and semi formal.
Yeah. That's fine. Yeah, all right. So we can maybe go ahead and take a look at what is going on with Ildor's next paragraph. The consequences of taking too many photos are mainly twofold. Okay. The consequences of taking too many photos are mainly twofold. That sentence is like giving me a headache. Like, you want to say there are two consequences mainly, but okay. First of all, preoccupied with taking photos, people may forget to enjoy the moment and live life to the full. Many people today experience life through the lenses of smartphone cameras. For example, when traveling, many people focus on taking photos rather than admiring the... Okay. All right, admiring the view, I don't know. Architecture, okay.
Excuse me, can you share the brainstorming for the second paragraph?
I already did, I think.
Oh, I didn't check the...
Oh, maybe I didn't. Oh, I did. Yeah, I did. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So, too many photos and maybe too far.
Of inapplicable photos.
I'm sorry, what are you saying?
Spreading of inapplicable and audacious photos, and some are using them for blackmailing.
So you're now generating new ideas, right?
No, kind of like the invasion one of privacy. Invasion of privacy, similar.
I'm sorry. I'm not really getting what you're trying to say, though.
Like I'm saying, on the internet, some people can spread photos that are inapplicable and audacious, which is bad, you know.
Yes. Yeah, but we already have enough ideas. We don't need, like, that's the whole, like, risk of, you know, like, when you're writing, you should just focus on writing and just using the ideas you have. If you want to go ahead and, like, brainstorm more ideas, then it's just going to mess up the essay, because it just, you know, it wasn't in our original plan, and it's like, it's hard to kind of, you know, add a new kind of angle. I like the idea, though, but right now, like, we should probably focus. Right now, for example, Eldor is going with his own idea about being narcissistic, instead of, like, using the students taking pictures in
Yeah.
class.
All right.
So it was probably in his head when he was developing his
Yeah.
idea.
Yes.
So it's okay. The consequence too many photos are mainly twofold. People may forget to enjoy the moment.
I would stop here without any concession.
Mm-hmm. So it's about 102 words. That's good. Now let's just try to edit or proofread this paragraph. The consequences of taking too many photos are mainly twofold. Does it sound natural to you, this sentence? I don't know.
Yeah. To me, yes, but yeah, I can see your kind of problem. Yeah, twofold is kind of too literary, maybe something like that.
Yeah. First of all, preoccupied with taking photos, people may forget to enjoy the moment. May forget to enjoy the moment and live life to the full. Many people today experience life through the lenses of their smartphone cameras.
Yeah, connections there. These
It's a
three
little
sentences
off,
are
right?
not real.
It's a little off.
Yeah.
Why not put this idea first, and then why not use this as a more of a general idea, because they sound like more general to me. Like, many people today experience life through the lens of their smartphone cameras. Now this sounds more like a general sentence to me.
Yeah,
and
now this is good. Yes.
And then you can say, preoccupied with taking photos, people may forget to enjoy the moment and live life to the full. That's okay. I would also maybe use a longer sentence, maybe explain this more, because that was the whole idea of, like, missing out on life or important moments, right? But all right. For example, while traveling, many people focus on, we have too many people now, right? Maybe many without people. Many focus on taking photos rather than admiring the architecture or the natural beauty of the place, and later find themselves regretting it. Okay. For example, while traveling, many focus on taking photos rather than admiring the architecture and the natural beauty of the place, and later may find themselves regretting it.
Yeah.
Can we use many tourists? Because we're talking about traveling here.
Yeah, but, you know, many is okay as well. Many focus on taking photos rather than admiring. Secondly, when people get addicted to taking selfies, this might gradually make more narcissistic, since the majority of the youth like selfies, this might later lead to a society full of narcissistic individuals. I don't know. I feel like now the second point you have is more of your like this inner hatred towards selfies.
Yeah, I know.
So it's not a really kind of a neutral point of view. You know, it's not really coming from a peaceful mindset. It's really coming from this hostile mind towards taking photos and taking selfies. Yeah, I would definitely use a different argument here, but it's okay. I think when people get addicted to taking selfies, I would maybe first explain, like, secondly, like having smartphones, maybe like people are in the people have this habit of taking selfies. So I would probably maybe introduce the idea of taking selfies more often because of something. And then I would say, but this addiction might actually make them more narcissistic or something. So again, I would use this for introductory point first. And then I would develop this idea. This might gradually make them more narcissistic since the majority of youth selfies. And I feel like there's a slight difference. Like you're saying, you're talking about first individuals, and then you're taking like, and then if we have more and more such individuals, then this might translate into a society, like a problem on a societal level, right?
To be honest, I was thinking about just having one idea in this paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess
that idea would be narcissism again.
No, it wouldn't be. It would be the first idea, actually.
Yeah, okay.
Like missing out on life. But I guess since we discussed all of these different ideas, it got stuck in my mind that I have to use more ideas or something like that. But I personally usually do that. I use usually one idea per paragraph. So
yeah, that's good. Yeah, but this is a positive or negative developments. You might say like this is a negative development because of blah 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 blah. Okay, no, it's okay.
Wait, I even forgot to talk about positive or negative. Yeah. So
yeah, that's what I was saying. Like maybe you want to first of all answer the question here somewhere.
Okay, so I need to change. In my mind, it was like a cause effect or something. This is a negative development.
For two reasons or something.
For two reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. I completely missed the point there.
Negative development for two reasons. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so what are you doing?
Yeah, I want to go this way.
With the memory thing, right? You might actually add that memory thing.
Okay. Give people more memories, or
so while it's true that more photos Yeah, you can say can give people more memories, or can serve as more memories, or I would argue that. That's good.
As a okay, if
Maybe
I say memento,
yeah.
it would be an object. So
I thought when you were writing this, I thought you're gonna go into that direction. Like, while it's true that more photos can give people more memories, I thought you were gonna emphasize on the experience being more important than photos or something like that. Like,
yeah, I want to say that, but first I want to say that one picture is enough, and then I want to say, instead of taking many pictures, people can take one picture and then focus on the experience itself. That way, it's a kind of a win-win. Yeah? You have a memory, and then you have.
Okay. There's also the idea that, like, you can take mental pictures, right? Like,
yeah.
And they live with you. You can, yeah, like, so, okay, go ahead and finish your point, and then we can talk about this.
For that reason, kind of could mean the difference.
I would argue that one picture would be enough for that. Like, one picture, maybe one picture would suffice or something like that. Instead.
So instead of taking many pictures, people can take one and then focus on the experience itself. If you put the sentence to Grammarly, it would say that itself is unnecessary.
Yeah. And like, now I'm not really sure about the word experience. Like, we know what we are referring to, but like, in this context, like in this essay, when the examiner is reading, like, you might want to be more specific. Like, people can take one and then focus on the experience itself. Like, what experience of taking pictures, or experience of traveling, or experience of enjoying the moment, or something like that, right? Then focus on maybe, so something like that, experience, focus on the moment itself, or focus on the momentum, or what do you, I don't know, enjoyment of life. Okay. Yeah, okay, enjoyment of the moment itself. All right.
Or maybe something like seizing the moment.
Yeah. Then seize the moment. Nah, it's okay. No, it's like
carpe diem.
It's too much now. Yeah. It should be okay. Like, it's getting late. It's already like 9:30, so it's all right. This was a tough question.
It was a tough question because it was an easy question.
Yeah, it was too easy. It looked too easy, but it wasn't. All right, conclusion. I guess, Ali, if your body paragraph is ready, we would like to take a look at that as well, but if not, then okay. So Ali is ready as well. So I'm just gonna, you can go ahead and write the introduction, Eldor, but I'm just gonna put Ali's second body paragraph and then maybe discuss it as well. Okay. In my view, however, this is generally an unfavorable development first and foremost, there is a risk that people might miss out a lot if they take photos very frequently.
Because, okay, excuse me, excuse me, I completed my paragraph just now. So when you were asking, I sent the incomplete version.
So sure, okay. All right, yeah, all right, okay. So everything else is unchanged, right? I just need to copy the last bit.
Yep, I think so.
Okay. First and foremost, there is a risk that people might miss out a lot. Okay, so I would just highlight the word "a lot," and it's a little too informal for IELTS. If they take photos very frequently, when, for example, trips to mountains and nature parks are organized, it's common to see them constantly pressing buttons of their smartphones and photo cameras to take selfies and capture stunning.
Excuse me, I noticed one mistake here. I had people in this sentence, in when sentence, in the first clause. Then I removed it and used the passive voice, and then now them is not referring to anything now. It's coming to see travelers. We can change it. Travelers.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Photos to take selfies or okay. Instead of actually enjoying them firsthand. This in turn can deprive of them the opportunity to enjoy their trips to the full.
Can deprive them of.
Yeah, can deprive them of. Can deprive them of. Yeah. Another reason is that photos can be a source of resentment and demotivation. It's true that users rarely post photos of their unhappy, unsuccessful, or depressed times, and followers are mostly exposed to positive moments, which might create an impression that their lives are dull and dissatisfying, thereby reducing the level of their motivation in life. Another reason is that photos. Are you missing Ken here, or are you just using B? Like I think there should be Ken, right?
Another photos can be, yeah. I was in a rush, so.
No, it's okay. But there is a way, like grammatical possibility, that you can actually use B, but I wasn't sure of that. Another reason is that photos can be a source of resentment and demotivation. It is true that users rarely post photos of their unhappy, unsuccessful, depressed times, and followers are mostly exposed to positive moments, which might create an impression that their lives are dull and satisfying. All right, so I just don't like the development of the second idea. Like, I don't feel like, because we already discussed this point, now we understand it like clearly, but to the reader who's just reading essays like back to back and who's, not really maybe on their element, so to speak.
Okay.
By just reading these sentences, like it's hard to follow, right? Like,
okay.
All of a sudden, what kind of resentment and demotivation? Like, and then you're just saying it's true that users rarely post their photos of unhappy. I think this is like little unnecessary. It's better to focus on like users usually only post photos of of their happy moments or whatever, positive moments. Which then may create the impression that like their lives, like in this case, again, we have this ambiguous there here, I think, like whose life we're talking about, like followers or users?
Followers.
I know, yeah, followers. Yeah, I understand that it's followers, but like generally it's like, again.
Okay, gotcha.
No, I like, what I like, your way of writing is to the point, especially in your first paragraph in the introduction, very to the point, very precise. But this development of ideas, especially in this particular second idea, was a little bit off. Like it's a little incomplete. But other than that, it's great. It's great. Thank you for sharing. Let's go back to Eldor's into the conclusion. So in conclusion, smartphones and social media are the main reasons why people today are taking more photos, and this is a negative development. I believe that people should focus on the moment rather than taking pictures, lest they risk missing out on life. All right, that's great. That's great. Okay, I would probably use I believe here before negative development. I believe this is a negative development, and then I would use like it's recommended or something like that. Like, or I would just say people should focus.
Yeah, it was like this originally, but
Yeah.
I don't know what I thought. I changed it.
Yeah, because your I believe is like needed there because it just need to communicate the idea that this is your position, right?
Yeah,
I would like, and I believe, like something like that.
And also, how do you feel about using the subjunctive mood in the last sentence? Like it is suggested that people focus on the moment.
Yeah. If when we get rid of I believe, then you can use that. Like it is suggested that, that people should focus, should still okay, right?
Yeah.
People should focus on the moment rather than taking pictures, lest they risk missing out on life. Okay. All right. So just to recap, we have in total 308 words, which is okay. This was a tough question because it kind of looked easy, but first of all, it was hard to focus, like to choose a side, like whether we want to argue in favor or against this development. We decided to argue against, but then there was also a little bit of kind of argument in terms of like selection of points. So we chose 2 points. Well, I chose 2 points here, like including the students taking photos becoming more distracted, but neither of you included that point in your paragraphs, which is fine, I think. So I think to recap, we can say when you're dealing with 2-part questions, what you have to remember is you have to answer both questions, preferably in 2 separate paragraphs. And when you're generating ideas, always be careful, because that was something that I noticed today. This is a common problem among students. They don't know, but they just go off topic and start talking about something else. Always ask yourself those 3 questions. Is my idea relevant? Does it answer the question? Can I develop this idea further? And make sure that it doesn't repeat the previous idea. So by asking those 3 questions, you can, just select the points or select the ideas more carefully. Also, something to include or to keep in mind is that both in the introduction and in the conclusion, you need to address both questions. You need to answer both questions. Sometimes you might, as Alisher did, address them like generally while saying, well, there may be some factors that explain blah, 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 blah. Keep it very general in the introduction and more specific in the conclusion. Or you could be more specific in the introduction right away. But the difficulty or the problem with that was it's hard then to rephrase it in body paragraphs as well. So I think if you're a student and if you're looking for like 7.5, I think it's already good enough to just keep it general, so you don't have to worry about rephrasing it later. First of all, for body paragraphs, and then for your conclusion as well. Otherwise, it's just you might find yourself just repeating the same words and phrases over and over. I really like today's lesson. We had 2 different essays. I'm sure Alisher can finish his essay and send his conclusion as well, so we can put it in there. Both are 7+, so both can be used to, as a model to follow and learn from. There are some problems with each because they were writing right at the moment, and it's difficult sometimes to sequence our ideas, or sometimes to develop our ideas to the full. But they did a great job of basically completing an essay almost independently, unlike me, because I'm always getting help. So yeah, this was a great lesson, I think. So it's already getting late, so I'm going to have to let you guys go. If you have any questions, you can ask the questions in the chat so that, people, Alisher himself and Eldor and me, if I have time, I can answer them in the comments in the chat.
Can you share the document with the whole process from beginning to the end, like just not omitting the whole process, like in the.
Okay, yeah. I can do that. I can probably.
Eldor, what Mr. Eldor that wrote what Toshmat style, like.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. All right. I can share this document if you have Gmail.
Mm-hmm.
I hope everyone has Gmail, so I can share this document, right?
Okay, thanks a lot. I will write the Gmail into the group.
No. You don't have to. I'm just gonna send you the link. If you have a Gmail account, you can access it.
I can just take it and put it in a Word file and send it to the group.
Oh, that would be great too.
Yes.
If you can do that, that's great, Eldon.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
No problem, guys. Have fun. Have a good night. That was a great lesson, I think. All right.
You too. Thanks a lot for the lesson.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye-bye.